So tell me, do you speak what you're actually vibrating? Do you energetically show up exactly the way your thoughts are? What I'm talking about here is sloppy thinking and how to avoid it. So this is an interesting topic because it involves ultimate awareness and it also involves a bit of self-reflection. So if that sounds like your jam, if that's the kind of thing you are interested in playing around, then you're in the right place. Hi, I am Kylie Ansett. I am the Alignment Whisperer and I guide seekers of alignment to get in touch with their inner brilliance, that part of them that has the answers. You know, when you are just totally tuned in and you say the right thing and you're in the right place and you make the right decisions, that is alignment. And we all have access to it when we connect with our inner brilliance. So I'm here to kind of be the guide and help on that journey. I am coming to you from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and I'd love to know where in the world you are tuning in. It's a glorious spring day here in Sydney. The sun is just, you can see, look at this, shining so beautifully. And this is your daily dose of alignment. Okay, so let's talk about sloppy thinking. Oh my goodness. A lot of the time, the way that we think is unintentional or unguided, or there's a lack of awareness around it. Now, that's pretty normal, right? That's just called life. But here's the thing. The way you think is what creates your vibration. And your vibration, and I'm talking on an energetic level, for those who, not quite sure what this vibration thing is, it really is just the energetic force field that surrounds each and every one of us that's invisible, and yet you can kind of sense it. And, because we can't see it, we can't measure it, it's not given much credence. And, certainly in mainstream science and things like that, it's poo-pooed and dismissed. And yet it is the essence of everything, because every single thing begins as a vibration, and then it goes from that very subtle state of vibration to something a little bit more formed, we might say a thought, to something a little bit more formed, we might say a word, to something a little bit more formed, we might say an action. So it begins in that vibrational state, and that's kind of like the birthplace of everything that we are experiencing. And when it's in that vibrational state, it's also much, much easier to influence. Like when something has become solid and manifested, it's already got that solidity. It's a lot harder to have any kind of effect upon, right? But when it's in the vibrational state, it's much more mutable. It's much more easy to shift. But we have to become aware of it. It's much easier to be aware of something when it is already manifested, when it's solid, when we've spoken it, when we've given it form. Whereas when it's in that state of vibration, our awareness of it is less. Unless, and this is where the sloppy thinking comes in. If you start being a little bit more intentional and bringing more awareness to your thoughts, then the way you are showing up and the way your vibrational body is being present, that's where you start making the shift. So I know this all sounds very esoteric, but I guess when we think of it, how often do you find yourself, you've gone down the path of a certain thought process, and you've been thinking it for half an hour, you've been ruminating over this thing, and like I'm talking about the kind of thoughts that are not pleasant, where you're irritated with someone, you're feeling angry, annoyed, all of those kind of things that we can, that our thoughts can go on, and there's justification that you feel and so on. I mean, online is a classic place for this. You can see these huge conversations that take place in Facebook world, where I do spend a bit of time, I won't lie. But, it's like how much energy and vibration has been given to these great discourses where resentment seems to be the underlying vibration of where people are coming from. Resentment or justification or annoyance and so forth. Now, the thing is, the way law of attraction works, it does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you want to think about that, or you want to think about, if you want to think about things that make you feel resentful, it'll say, great, here's more stuff to feel resentful about. And if you want to think about things that make you feel pleasant and happy and relieved, it'll say, great, here's more of those to think about. So I call it sloppy thinking. Well, I don't call it sloppy thinking, but I have heard it called sloppy thinking, and you probably have too, when we're not directing our thoughts, we're not having awareness around them, we're not bringing an intentionality to them, we're just kind of either reacting to others, therefore letting them dictate our thought state, which is like would have to be the ultimate in laziness, to let someone else dictate what's going on with my thoughts, especially when you think that my thoughts create the vibrational state that creates the manifested world that I'm attracting towards me. I mean, why would I let someone else dictate that? Unless that someone else was someone who I knew would be beneficial to me. But often we hang around in those places where, I kind of liken it to picking a scab, like it's that, you shouldn't do it, it's not good for you, it's just going to start bleeding again, but you can't help it. You're just like, I just got to, I'm pretty sure this time if I pick at this scab, it's going to be okay, right? So it's almost comes from that place of that sloppy thinking comes from that place where we're allowing someone else to set the agenda, or maybe we just, got up on the wrong side of the bed, or didn't set our intention in the beginning of the day, and so then found ourselves, walking into situations where we decided to act in a certain way. So the power is always with you. I tell you this all the time because I want to remind myself of it too. We always have the power ourselves. It's entirely up to us how we think. It's never up to the circumstances, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a very empowering way to live your life, to hold that belief and to step forward knowing that. So by having intentionality around your thoughts, you are doing the opposite of having sloppy thinking. You are deciding, this is how I will think, or that is how I will think. Now, of course, thoughts are so quick, right? They happen in a split second. I get that. So it's not like 27,000 thoughts can go through your head before you've kind of had a chance to catch them. But for a thought to start creating the energetic field and the vibration that starts to really have an effect, it's probably going to be one you've been thinking over and over or for a while. And so that's when it's much easier to catch it. If you're like, wow, I've just spent the last 10 minutes thinking about how annoyed I was with that lady at the post office who, said that thing to me. And that's when, the decision is then in your hands. Do I keep thinking about this? Do I then go and tell the story about it to my friend? Do I, write a blog post about it? Do I journal about it? And create so much more solidity and vibration around that thought? Or do I decide, oh, hang on, this is not the sort of thing that I want to bring into my world. Annoyance, irritation, people who, don't do the right thing by me or whatever. So let's just shift our attention to, that thing over there. So I hope this has been, maybe thought-provoking. Maybe sloppy thinking is something that you have caught yourself doing in the past. And if so, then fantastic. You are miles ahead of most people who don't even give any attention to what they're thinking about. They're continually in a reactive state. So even the fact that you might have caught yourself once or twice before is a fantastic place to be in, and it definitely shows that you're starting to create those pathways of intentionality around your thinking. Thank you so much for joining me, playing in this alignment sandbox. I always have fun. I hope you do too, and I want you to always remember the power is within you. Bye-bye.